Okay, so now we are starting with Mr. Finn.
Yes.
He will be talking about human capital management. He will be lecturing us about that. So let's hear from him. Okay, go on.
Hello and welcome to my presentation, the course Human Capital Management. Today about the topic Introduction, Training, Placement, Remuneration, Benefits and Skill Development. And yes, so we go on. First of all, I would like to start with the structure of my presentation. So first of all, I want to start with the topic Introduction to the Workplace, then focusing on how does training of employees work, and further I want to highlight the importance of training and skill development. Afterwards, I want to explain what placement in this context means, and moreover, I will define remuneration and focus on the types of monetary compensation. And at the end, I will finish my presentation with possible benefits provided by the workplace and the sources. Okay, so starting with the introduction to the workplace, or also known as onboarding, the process of integrating new employees to the organization through new hire orientations or mentorship programs. So first of all, I would like to start with the right side of my presentation. So with the orientation programs, organizations like, for example, some firms like PwC or something else typically conduct formal orientation sessions, which provide an overview of company policies, procedures, and the culture. And having an orientation day can help you to get closer to your new colleagues and to get to know the workplace. And the employee may also include like social activities during the orientation day, like gatherings or team building activities to encourage new hires to connect with the colleagues and to help like to build new relationships with the other colleagues, and it's also good for future teamwork. And now you may be asking yourself, why are orientation days so important? First of all, you can connect with your colleagues. It facilitates integration. A structured introduction helps new employees to your climate, to the organizational culture and social dynamics. And it's easier to connect directly. It helps fostering a sense of belonging and community. And now focusing on the other side of the slide, so on mentorship. Mentorship is also very helpful and most often a part of the onboarding process. So pairing the employees with experienced colleagues or mentors facilitates personalized guidance and support during the first month. So why is a mentor important? It's important to have support and like also a reference person at work, a person who can trust maybe a little bit more. Okay, then I want to highlight the benefits of an early introduction into the workplace or workforce. First of all, it clarifies job roles. During the introduction, clear communication of job responsibilities and expectations enables employees to understand their job, specific in the organization, and it also sets expectations. It's like pretty close to clarify the job roles, but it's more from the employer perspective. So to clearly communicate the job responsibilities, company values, and the performance expectations. Then the third point is it provides resources. So new hires are informed about available sources, such as employee handbooks, training materials, and support system, equipping them to navigate the work more easier. And it's also a part of the onboarding process. And the last point is maybe the introduction encourages questions, and a welcoming introduction helps to ask questions, to seek clarification, and it's always important to ask questions so you know if you really understood it really well. So now we'll focus on how does training of employees work. So if we like finish the onboarding process and the employees are already working at your company, so first of all, we start with an assessment. The training process begins with an assessment to like identify the skill gaps within the workforce. This includes like knowledge assessment, maybe like, for example, quizzes or exams, or an annual performance review. Other option could also be like a self-assessment, but I would say the other ones are more helpful. Then the second one is the selection of trainers. So once the company identified the training needs or the skill gaps, the next step is to select the right trainers. So either internal experts or external consultants. And then the third one is the training delivery method. So there are various methods for delivering training, including like the first one, face-to-face session. The second one is e-learning sessions, and the third one is on-the-job training. And each method has its benefits, and choosing the right one depends on the training content and also on the needs and the desires of the employees. And the fourth one is the evaluation and feedback. So post-training evaluation is important for assessing the effectiveness of the training program, also like for future trainings. Okay, then coming to the importance of training and skill development. So the slide before I talked about how does training of employees work. And so to ask yourself, why is it important? First of all, the ability to change. We also talked about that in Katharina's presentation yesterday. Like as industries evolve, ongoing training prepares employees to adapt to changes in standards, regulations, and ensures operational efficiency. The second one is competitive advantage. Regular training ensures that employees remain up to date with industry trends, technological advancements, and practices. And it's like important for the company to stay competitive, especially like nowadays in the globalized world. And also training leads to an enhanced performance. Training correlates with improved employee performance. So skilled employees are way more capable of doing their responsibilities effectively and efficiently. And it helps in the field of innovation and creativity. So coming to the next slide, placement, or meaning, so in this context, meaning to assign employees to a specific position in the company based on their skills, interests, and also their qualifications. So the goal is to ensure that each employee is in a role where they can thrive and feel satisfied with their work. So maybe I'm giving two advantages of good placement. So first of all, is it enhances job satisfaction. Like proper placement leads to higher job satisfaction, as employees are more likely to enjoy their roles when they have the interest and when it matches with their capabilities. And also it optimizes resources utilization. So assigning employees to the right roles ensures that their talents and skills are used effectively and efficiently. So it's also good for the company, because then the company has to spend less money. Okay, and now I want to focus on the concept of remuneration. Remuneration refers to the total compensation that an employee receives in exchange for their work and services. So it includes various forms. The one option is monetary compensation. Monetary compensation is direct financial payment. So I also put some examples down under the explanation. So an example could be fixed salary or bonuses. It's like rewards are often the most visible part of an employee's compensation package and play an important role in attracting new employees. The second one is non-monetary compensation, like health insurance, free lunch, or retirement contributions. And the third one is incentives and performance rewards. So companies also implement incentive programs and performance rewards to motivate employees. This category also includes additional vacation days and can also include like parental leave or professional development opportunities. Okay, so now I want to highlight the types of monetary compensation. First, there could be like fixed compensation. Like fixed compensation is a stable and regular payment that employers receive, especially in the form of a salary. The second one is variable compensation. It includes like performance-based pay that is dependent on the individual or team performance. This type of compensation allows organizations to reward employees based on their contributions and the company's success. And the third one is bonus. Bonus is just a part of variable compensation. So it's financial rewards provided to employees based on their specific performance. So if the project was really great, then the bonus will be higher. And all in all, there are a lot of factors influencing compensation, so the market standards and the company performance. Okay, coming to my last slide of the presentation today, let's discuss employee benefits. So which are non-wage compensation provided to employees in addition to their regular salaries or wages. So I put the examples above. So one example could be health benefits, such as medical and dental insurance. The second one could be retirement benefits. Retirement benefits helps employees prepare for their future, offering pension plans or saving options. And the third one is flexible working hours, like more common nowadays. The fourth one is remote work opportunities. Like with the rise of technology, many organizations now offer remote work options. And it's also like good for job flexibility and reduces stress for the employees. And there could be like many, many more additional benefits. So I put some both like paid time off or parental leave, but you can like imagine some more. And in conclusion, offering competitive benefits is essential nowadays for attracting and retaining top talent. Thank you. This was my presentation and the sources.
Wonderful. Can you put it?
Oh, yeah. Should I put it?
Okay, so
Okay, it's in.
okay, thank you very much, especially as you were able to give us okay, so we are starting off with the structure from Finn.
Yes.
Introduction to the workforce. That's what he lectured us on today. How does training of employees work? Importance of training and skill development, placement, definition of remuneration, and types of monetary compensation, benefits. And he was able to give us the source from where he got all that he presented. Okay, now let's start with the introduction of the workforce. What do you understand by that? I need your input, everybody, and the example. Your understanding of the introduction of the workforce.
Okay, I think introduction to workforce means that if you're new into a company and you got hired recently, that you get to know your team, that you get to know your tasks which you're faced, that you get introduced to certain dynamics into the company, that you get the whole IT stuff you need to do your work, and you have your compliance training and all these sorts of things.
Yeah, and also I think mentorship is really important, as you said on your slide, because you have an employee who knows what he's doing and he can guide you. And also most of the questions you are going to have, probably someone had them before, so he can help you with them.
Yeah, I think, as you just said, you mentioned it really well, because I think it's really important. Me, myself, I experienced that, like, I wasn't introduced in a workplace really well. So I had like no orientation programs or not a good mentorship. So I came to the new job, and first off, I had to figure out myself what I even had to do. And I wasn't really connect to my coworkers and stuff, and I wasn't feeling quite well working there. And as well, like the mentorship, when you keep on working there, I wasn't like, there was like not a mentor who was leading me in the job. And I think that's why it's really important, because me, for myself, I didn't feel like keep on working in this place, because just the introduction was missing in the workplace.
I can add on that. I had a complete different experience. I had a very good orientation program where I met a lot of new joining people at the workspace. So we all were at the same level, and it was really nice because a lot of them are still today my friends, And the mentorship was also very good because I had people there who worked at this company for more than 2 or 3 years. And always when I had questions, I could go to them and ask them if they can help me. And that was a better communication than with the supervisor, because there you might be afraid to ask certain questions, but with a buddy you can ask every question. So it was very good.
I also had the same as Nahum. When I did an internship, I had also a very good orientation week, or it was just three days. But I also met their person who I always texted when I had questions. So because they were in the same position as me, and I knew I can ask them without feeling weird. And yeah, I think, and I still have contact with some of those people, and it was like 3 years ago. And so because of that, I think a good orientation program is, I think it's very necessary for a good company, for the workers to feel good.
Yeah, I want to add something to you said. I just said at one place I worked, I didn't have this good introduction, and I think I was especially missing this point you had, like a person I could ask, because every time I was having a question, I was like, who should I ask? Or I felt like okay, if I ask now, I feel stupid, and so I didn't ask at all, and I have to figure it out myself. But it took much time to figure it out myself, and it was just inefficient for me myself working, and as well for the company, because I had to figure out everything myself and couldn't just ask somebody.
So I had both experience. I once had not someone to ask, so I didn't know what actually I was supposed to do. But in my last job, I had a great mentor, and it was way easier to adapt to the company and the expectations. And also, it was easier to get to know everyone, because I knew that there was someone who's going to support me if I need help.
Wonderful. Okay, so I would like to go through it again. Introduction to the workplace, orientation programs. Very, very important. Even in this university, we also have orientation. So the student will know what to do, how to do them, when to do them. For example, if they are international students, they will be able to be told about how to make use of Thai student visa, because there are so many regulations concerning that. They can only know that if you have an orientation. The same thing is applicable to workplace. Organizations typically conduct formal orientation sessions. Very, very important. If you, after all the processes of getting someone recruited, the next step would be to start the work. And how would the person start the work without knowing anything? Where to keep the keys, or who to open the doors, and how to log in and how to log out. And so many things that needed to be instructed. Okay, now why the orientation day is important? Because it's very important, because it connects with colleagues. Who are actually your colleagues? The chain of management. Again, get to know the workplace and facilitates integration. Very, very important. Without introducing someone to a workplace, how can the person work? So, orientation programs are very, very, very important in any workplace. Then mentorship. It is not just only conducting orientation. There should be a follow-up. Pairing new employees with experienced colleagues or mentors. Some people that have distinguished themselves in that particular company, one or two of them must have been asked to help educate, to help instruct, to help advise, to help mentor the new ones. Why is mentoring important? It's important because it facilitates personalized guidance, support during the first month, and having a reference person at work. If you don't do this kind of a thing, I am sure that the company will be having problems, just like most of you have experienced already. Okay. So the next,
Next slide.
yes,
Okay. So the next-
benefits of early introduction into the workplace. So we said clarify job roles, sets expectations, provides resources, encourages questions. Can you explain it further for us?
yeah, sure. So first of all, I said
In details, if possible.
Huh?
With examples, if
Ah, yeah,
possible.
sure. So the first one is like clarifying job roles. Maybe it's now from the employee perspective. When you get to work and you, as we talked about with Oscar, the presentation before, you just read the job description. You're not really 100% sure what you're doing at work. So just think of what you should do. But when you get to work, the employee is like sets his expectations. This is like the second point. So the employee tells you what he expects from you and what he wants you to do at work. And that's why an introduction is important, that you really know what are your steps at work, what should you do at work. And the third point was to provide resources. So maybe the company uses like a software, for example, like an accounting firm uses SAP, and maybe you're not familiar with the software, you don't know the software, and then the company can help you to get familiar with the software, to train you with the software. And without this introduction, like the start would be a mess. You would start without knowing anything, and then you should learn all by yourself. What I think wouldn't be like a good approach, I would say it's better to have an introduction, to introduce someone to the software, so the whole progress afterwards would be more faster and more organized. And the fourth one is like introduction encourages questions. And as we're all talking about questions, I think it's important to seek clarification, to really know what you're thinking, because sometimes you're not really sure if you really understood it well. And then asking questions, it's important to really make sure you understood everything.
Okay, now if I may ask everybody, we are talking about the benefits of early introduction into the workforce. How about the disadvantage?
So maybe one disadvantage could be that it's a little bit expensive to start an orientation, but I would think it's like a good amount of money spent from the company, because then afterwards I would say it's easier for the whole team to navigate and to have a good work experience. So I think in the beginning, like introduction could be like quite expensive, and you also need like employees from like the managing position or other positions leave their work behind and go to these introduction days. So maybe it's like not so easy for the managers, but I would say for future, it's really good.
Okay, further explanations we have heard about.
Yeah.
Read and seen about benefits. How about disadvantage?
Yeah, I think you just mentioned an important point, but I think it also could be like that if you introduce an employee really early to the workforce, maybe it will scare them off, because it's like they want to get known to people first and stuff, and get known to the work climate and everything around there. And if you already like show them what the work will look like and what they have to do, maybe it will scare them off, because it's like pushing them in the cold water, we say in Germany. And maybe so it will scare them off if you do it too early and too much at the beginning.
Very good. Christopher, what have you to say about the disadvantage of early introduction into the workplace?
I basically don't have any disadvantage points. I agree with Finn that it can be expensive because I was in an early bird program as well, and I think it was very good for me and as well as the company, because in the best case scenario, you have a worker after, for example, I graduate, I will go back to the company, and in the worst case scenario, you had a cheap workforce for a few months, so it's a win-win for the company, I think.
So there's no disadvantage for you?
I mean, maybe as Finn said, the payment, because you have to pay your interns or your working students, and basically in the first 1 or 2 semesters they don't know much, so you have to train them. And but other than that, I can't really see a disadvantage for the company.
I think when you get introduced to the workforce very early and get a lot of mentoring and so on, there are always a lot of expectations from other employees in your team. And I think if you're new into a team, it can be like very frightening if everybody has like a lot of expectations, and yeah, I think the pressure is then really high, and especially if when you're new, can happen that you do not know how to deal with this pressure.
Anna, do you have anything to say about disadvantages?
Well, maybe it's also a question about time, because the employee has either to take its own time to go to the orientation week, or the company has to take a whole week just for the employee to get started. And if they don't do it, the employee will start right now. But I mean, I can also only see benefits, because in the end, the employee will be much more adapted to the company if he gets to know everyone and the working culture. Because if he just like gets started, he doesn't know anything. If you just say, okay, do this, so maybe he's not really familiar with the whole IT dynamics and the management. So yeah.
No, have you said anything about that? You have already said?
Yeah, I think the advantages overweight. For example, the high pressure on the employee. I think that's also a benefit, because the employees will learn to deal with pressure. And if he's failing, it's like a natural selection. The company only gets employees who can endure high pressure. So I think it's beneficial.
You asked because of the disadvantages. I think the only disadvantages could be that if you are a company and set expectations, and the expectations are too high, for example, the employee could get too much pressure and then he doesn't perform. So this could be the only disadvantage, I think. But as Nahum said, I think the advantages overweight the disadvantages, so it's always really, really good.
So how about a situation, someone who probably had a way of taking money from the company, stealing from the company, and unfortunately the company has not dictated, and then you make him to be the mentor, and then he used the opportunity to recruit more people that might help him in different departments in siphoning the company. Do you think along that side as probable disadvantage of this kind of introduction into the workforce at the early stage? Secondly, how about this sexual related harassment? Someone might be, for example, if he's trying to lure anybody available with his own lifestyle, sexual orientation, because he has been given the opportunity to recruit the first person, and then happen to misuse it toward that direction. How about a situation where the supervisor of a particular department, who may not be doing very well, this is a nice opportunity to recruit more people that will enable his or her own ways that may not be in line with the company's philosophy, mission, and vision. Without this mention, how do we handle it? Because this is just a new person that just came. You are now giving the person an opportunity. And then the supervisor now use the opportunity to try to co-opt, to get these people in line with whatever he or she is doing that has not been a good way.
I think we are talking about big organizations, and mostly in these organizations they have structures and frameworks which normally prevent such actions. So
These organizations are covered by human.
yes, but they
With
have
human
systems. Systems. I think they have systems installed, which when it's working should prevent these things. Like in companies, I think maybe it's not that good, but you can, if something like sexual harassment you said happens, then there should be like there should be places where you can go in the company and tell maybe anonymously that
What if he didn't want to tell?
he doesn't, the
He or
person
she,
doesn't want to tell.
yeah,
But why? There's, I think,
because he felt that the person is a person that met him or her the first day, and then he doesn't need to, because he needs the job. He doesn't want to have any problem.
yeah, that's when you need good structures. So the person who got assaulted can tell without fearing losing the job. That's when you need these structures. And if it's working good, then I think that they can do something like that.
Very good.
For example, a recent case we had in Germany. Do you know DWS? DWS
Correct.
is like the biggest asset manager in Germany, and they had a case that the company were saying that a lot of assets were very environmental, but they were not. And one of the manager, a woman from US who was working in Frankfurt, she told the CEO and the managers that that's the case and that they need to change the label or the products. But they said to her she should be quiet and they don't want to change anything. And then she turned, she were telling against the company and she was fired. They had a case, so and she lost her job because of that. And I think there should be systems that she should not lose her job because she told
The truth.
yes.
So what do you contribute, Christopher, Sebastian, and Anna, and this particular disadvantage? What?
Yeah, I think the example Nahum just said is just showing that as well in big companies, just in DWS, we still have like this inefficiency or like a failure that somebody gets kicked out, like gets fired just because, and she was like a really high level person, so it was not like an entry job person, like having difficulties with other persons. She was like telling the truth and a high level person, and she just got kicked out, got fired because she was telling the truth and like as like was not playing, was not doing like this. You could already say criminal stuff with the other employees in this company. So I think as well, big companies have to work on this problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people can always misuse their power they have over their employees that they're managing, but I think it shouldn't prevent companies from early introduction because I think these are specific scenarios and early introduction still has much more benefits in the end, I think.
Yeah, very, very important point. Very, very important point. Okay, Sebastian.
Yeah, I think the others said everything which is important, so nothing to add from my side.
Yeah, I basically agree, and I think there are quality controls or even people controls in place for to prevent this. And of course, you can't really detect it every time, but I think a lot of HR departments do a very good job there.
Very good. Okay, so it's good when we think about benefits, we think about the other side because we are human, because we make us more protected. Okay, next.
Okay,
Do you have anything to say by yourself to add to it?
Yeah, maybe I would say it's like a social problem then more, because when you talked about like the sexual harassment, I would say it's not just a problem in the company, it's like a whole social problem. And sure, someone can use their managing position, as Anna said, but I would say it's like a problem of the whole society, and you need to have good laws for that. So that's what I wanted to add, but nothing else. I think the US said it really clear.
Okay. Okay, wonderful.
Okay, so the next slide.
How does training of employees work? Start with an assessment. How does the training of employees work? Start with an assessment, selection of trainers, training delivery methods, evaluation and feedback. Any point here? Any point here? Something to add? Or something to share? Okay, Anna, thank you.
I think during your presentation you said that with the assessment that self-assessments are not as good as quizzes or exams. So would you say that all companies should do quizzes? Because self-assessments, I think, are more usual in Germany.
Yeah, so I think that's like a good question. I think self-assessment is like a good start. Maybe to like look what the employees think they know they have and what their capabilities are. But then I think after the self-assessment, it's important to do like a real assessment to maybe match if the self-assessment is close to the real assessment. Because when you do like a training, it's important to check the gaps in like the gaps needed. So I would say like a mixture of both is a great option.
Okay, Sebastian.
What would you do as a company when you send your employees on a training and they come back, but they don't have more expertise then, so the training was useless? What would you do as a company then?
Okay, that's also a really good question. So that's why I put the point evaluation and feedback, because I think it's important to like evaluate every training and skill development session. And if you know like the skill development and training does not work, you should maybe cancel it or find a different external consultant. Because like the example was when you go somewhere else and come back, maybe you go to like a session, a seminar with like a consultant. And if the consultant is not really good, then maybe you should look for a different one.
Okay.
Okay, so next slide.
Yes.
The importance of training and skill development. Wow. Adaptability to change, enhanced performance, competitive advantage, and innovation and creativity. Everybody must have to say something here because this is very important area. Explain and give example.
Yeah, I would, for an example, give in-house training. So, for example, if you have students, we learn a lot of theory in university, but most of the time, if you work in a finance industry company, you need a lot of practical skills and less theory. So, for example, you need to use Excel or some software, programmer software, and while you learn in theory how you should basically build a portfolio or something, actually doing it is something entirely different. So I think that's where the companies should train and develop your skill sets. And it's a lot of on-job learning, like learning by doing it. After you've done it, you will get better at it.
I want to add something to the point innovation and creativity. So from time to time, you will have different types of projects within your team. And I think it's very important to get like involved in new types of work. For example, design thinking. So when there are new topics, you should come together as a team and try to brainstorm and try to fix things like in a creative way, for example. So you must try to get your team involved in a new mindset.
So relating to adaptability to change, like yesterday in my presentation, I said that it's a real challenge that people don't want things to change and don't want to adapt to new technologies even. And I think it can be a real performance enhancer if people are really flexible and agile and really try to think of new things and new technologies as something that really improves their performance. So I think it's really important.
Wow.
Yeah, I would also speak on adaptability to change, because I think in a lot of industries there are no new regulations, and you need to learn these new regulations to still perform your job. So yeah, people have to learn their lifelong. So yeah.
Like AI we have now.
Yeah, for example, AI, but I think yeah, that's I think innovation, creativity. They have
I
to
saw
learn
in
this.
Germany there was what there exists an app in Germany where AI is building bungalow.
Bungalow
Yeah, AI. They used AI
in
to.
Germany.
Yeah, it's an app. And, I don't know where. So whether in the Facebook, a particular company just was doing that. Just used AI. No, robot. Is it AI or robot?
Robots,
Yes,
okay.
robot.
Okay, that
Okay,
could be
robot. Not. I think it's connected. They also use AI also, but
Yeah.
then robot was the one fetching the bricks and then putting it in order.
true. Also, Amazon uses robots to pick up to do the warehouse jobs. A lot of
Yeah.
people got lost their job, so robots can take it.
Yeah, but this time around, the robot is being used to build a
House.
yeah
Okay, yeah, that's
without even
Right.
getting anybody involved.
What came in my mind instantly is the what I think is very, very important, as you mentioned, the adaptability to change. So as we said yesterday, you always have to change and you always have to adapt. And when your workers don't adapt, your company can't make more profit, I think. And because yes, that's all very important points, but the adaptability to change is, I think, the most important.
Yeah, to this point as well. So as we said, so people don't like changes. People often don't like development. It's just in the nature of human. But I think for my part, at some point as an employee, me myself, I like to improve myself. I like to like get new skills. And I think if the company provides training and teaches me like more stuff, more skills, I will be more satisfied because I will like the job more. If I do like for 10 years, I learn nothing new, I won't be satisfied, I think. So I think this is like an important point as well, because if the employees are satisfied, the company will work better. So I think that's why training is important as well.
Wow, the importance of training and skill development. Wonderful. Okay, can you move on?
Sure.
Placement
Yes.
refers to the intentional process of assigning employees to a specific positions within the organization based on their skills, interests, and qualification. It enhances job satisfaction. It optimizes resource utilization. Effective placement reduces wasted resources and money spent by the company, resulting from employees being mismatched to their roles. Placement. Can somebody say something about it too? Placement, job placement.
So should I say something about that?
Okay.
So I would say placement is really important. For example, when you start the job and the company is like looking where should you place it in which division. For example, maybe like when you start at a consultancy, like they have many divisions, so they consult maybe for healthcare systems, for maybe infrastructure, for political reasons, and then maybe it's important to match the person with the interest he or she has. So when he's like studied biology, it's maybe more better to place him in the biology department, or like more what he's really interested in. And yeah, that's why I would say it's more important, because otherwise you have to spend more money later on because the person maybe leaves the company and then you have to find a new one. Then it's also good for like retention of the employees to find a good placement in the company.
So could you explain further with the example placement, moving from one department to another department? Because that's what it means. Intentional process of assigning employees to specific positions within the organization based on their skills and then on their interests and qualifications. So what have you to say? But let me start this time around from with. Okay.
Nahum. Yeah, I have actually two examples also from my last experience. I met two people, two women. One wanted to change to another position internally in the company, and she did that successfully, and she's now very happy, also earns more money. And the other woman tried to do the same step, but she couldn't do it because they said they are not in need for another people in this position. So yes,
She got fired.
no, but I think she will leave the job, but but she didn't get fired now.
Okay. So Nicholas, what have you to say? Examples.
Yes, the second point, the point with optimizes resource utilization. I think this is also very important because a worker only has fun while doing his job when he does something what he loves to do, and if he doesn't have the skills in his job, he isn't happy with his job. So I think that it's very important that the person has the talent and the skill to do this, to do the things that you put it into a job he wants to do, and then your company is automatically more profitable, I think. And yes, that's very important.
What happens if you are more qualified than the place you are given?
Yes.
The department you are in, you have so many qualifications, so many skills, so many talents.
Yes.
What do you have to say about it in relation to placement?
I didn't understand the question. What?
I think you mean when there's a person who is very
For example,
qualified.
You are employed, but you are qualified in
Yes.
you have so many skills and so many interests in other areas and qualifications, but you are kept here, just like your gift is being wasted. Your talents are wasted. So I was asking you, how can he explain that in the context of placement?
I think you can a lot of times speak with your supervisor, and then he can speak with their supervisor and to the top level, and then they can try to coordinate maybe a job change. But if the other departments are in need, then I think it's yeah. Yeah, maybe you have to stay and wait, maybe, or you have to change. A lot of people, I think, in Germany or also in other countries, change companies because at the next step in the career, there's no need for you. So you might look for this position at another company. Yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So I think at some point, so placement is very important, but I think at some point you have to be careful that the company doesn't that the company doesn't promote like their workers too high, because I think at some point if a worker is doing well, the first thought of a company will maybe be, okay, let's promote him. But I think at some point the company should stop promoting their people, because you promote him so long that at one point he will maybe reach a level where the employee is like has not the qualification to do the job anymore, and then you lose a good worker, because the level he had before, he was doing great, but the next level he's doing bad. So you don't have like a bad employee, you also lose a good one at the lower level. And I think so you have to be as well careful at the placement of your employees in the company.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah, I think employee placement is also something really important, because there are basically two things you need to know at your job, like the specifics, where you are placed, but also every company has basically their different and own IT system, or for example, they use Microsoft Teams or Google Teams, or they have certain apps that are intern, and if you have a person who already knows how to use your applications, and for example then changes department, then it's better than hiring somebody new.
Okay.
I also think that placement is good to a certain amount. I also think that placement always should be project based. So if, for example, an employee has done extraordinary good in a project, and he has now expertise in a very specific field, it would be like really good for him to get placed like in another department where he can like get his knowledge to life and help this department to like do further steps.
Yeah, I agree with them, but I also think that if an employee does exceptionally well, it's on the manager to give him all the opportunities that he needs and maybe also promote him. Because if an employee doesn't feel valued, maybe he will leave the company and they lose a good employee.
Okay, wonderful. So what will be the next step? Definition of remuneration refers to total compensation received by an employee in exchange for their work and services. Monetary compensation, non-monetary compensation, incentives, and performance rewards. Who can explain all this to us?
Yeah, sure. So I think maybe like you have three different categories. So the first one is monetary compensation. It's the one we mostly have in our companies, like direct financial payment, fixed salary, or also like bonuses or hourly wages. And I would say nearly everyone receives that when he works. Then the second one is non-monetary compensation, like benefits you get on top of the monetary compensation. For example, like health insurance, also like small benefits like free lunch at work or retirement contributions. And the last one is incentives and performance rewards. And it's like also good to attract new employees, to motivate them, and you maybe give them more additional vacation days when they do more overtime hours, when they work really well with the project. You reward them with additional vacation days, or also to give like professional development opportunities. So we talked about this training and skill development thing, but it's like good from the employer's perspective, but like also good from the employee's perspective. When you have more professional skills, it's also good for your future work life. And yeah, I would say it depends also on the country you're living. What is like the most important thing for you? I would say like in maybe less developed countries, non-monetary benefits are more important. When you get like health insurance and you don't have like governmental health insurance in your country, maybe this is like a huge important thing, because like health insurance can be really expensive, and if you have like treatment, it can be also like really expensive. And then this is like really important. But in Germany, for example, we have like this governmental health insurance, so we pay all an amount of money to health insurance. So if the company offers like health insurance, it's not like the same benefit as it is in a country where you don't have health insurance. So yeah, that's what would be my definition.
Wonderful. Anybody, anything to add to it? Some people are working hard, so you need to give them extra pay to compensate them. Or you need to, probably some places you have to bring in a van for your workers, or take them home, go and pick them to the workplace. Those are part of non-monetary compensation as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and this is very, very, very important in any workforce, in any workplace, because some people might be sick, and if they have insurance, they don't need to spend the money. That is very, very, very beneficial, because the insurance will take care of that. And some people, during the lunch, they don't need to spend money to go and buy lunch, because you have it already for them freely. And it creates an enabling environment, a very nice and healthy atmosphere for them to work more and then get satisfied, because they are working for you and for the company. Incentives and performance rewards, of course. As I told you, I moved around every time. Sometimes every year we are entitled to, I don't know, I guess about 20 free working days, but it depends. Sometimes 10, sometimes 20, depending on the you and the president of this particular university. And again, sometimes some people might lose the loved ones. There are situations that might happen. The workplace might still give you extra time, paid time, not just they will not touch your salary. So I think these are, and many more, they're very, very important in the workforce. Okay, next.
Sure.
Types of monetary compensation, fixed compensation. Sometimes if you work 2 hours, you might be paid $100 and it's fixed. Variable compensation depends, and then bonuses at the end of every year. Some companies they try to give bonus to their workers. Do you have any other further explanation to it? Or
No, I think like maybe the top one on the top, like factoring, influencing, compensation, like it also depends on market standards and on the company performance. So if the company is performing really well, then maybe the bonus will be higher than if the company is in a crisis. Also, like if the market is really good, for example, during COVID season, there was a crisis and the companies are all struggling, and then maybe the bonuses are pretty low. And if you like rely on the bonuses, it's like a problem for the employee. But yeah, that's what I would add, but nothing else. Rest on the slide.
okay, wonderful. Okay, next.
Yes, it's my last slide about the benefits. So we already mentioned it before with the compensation. And now I have just like some examples on top. What could be like suitable benefits for from the employer's perspective. And also like the reasons why you should do that from the employer's perspective.
Okay, so can we comment on this? Is this your last slide?
That's the last slide, yes.
Okay, so everybody comment. That is the last one. Very give a short, brief explanation of your understanding.
Yeah, I think the benefits are the way to separate your company from others. So compensation is mostly equal at similar companies. Similar companies, sorry, but like the benefits you have, for example, healthcare or retirement, like I said, really maybe will set things apart and get you the quality talent you are looking for.
Yeah, I totally agree with Christoph on that. I think to retain top talent within your company, you have to provide certain benefits. Yeah, because that's the only thing besides of like salary. What can your what sets your company apart from others?
Yeah, I also agree with what Finn said before, that health benefits, if they're really wanted, depends also on the country. Like in Germany, it has governmental health insurance. But for example, in the United States, they get big health benefits from the companies. And also, that really helps set your company aside from the competitors.
Okay.
Yeah, I think these benefits are quite are just a good tool for a company to compensate their employees in a different way, because I think many employees are not like focused just on the money. And instead they like other benefits. For example, like health benefits. You just listed them up. I don't have to tell them. Yeah.
Yes, I also think good good benefits for a company, for the employees, are very important, because an employee works like half of the day, was half of his life in the company, and because of that, it's not only about working, it's also about other things like those benefits and friendships there. And yes, because of that, the only thing doesn't has to be the working hours to do there and to sit there since being 70 years old, until being 70 years old and finishing then. But it's also like good things like those benefits and yes, friends.
I think in countries like Germany and the Western world, we see that benefits like flexible working hours get important day to day, because people are not anymore that much focusing on high salary. So yeah, companies have to shift to more benefits,
Have to shift to what?
to giving more benefits to the employees.
Okay, so thank you very much. And then, what will be your last slide?
Yes, this is my last slide. The last slide
Okay,
is just
so
this
thank you
one.
very much for your presentation. Wow, 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 wow. See you next time.
See you.